Palantir Technologies stock may still be a buy despite being left out of the S&P 500 this quarter. Let's talk about why. Welcome back, everyone. The news here is that Palantir was excluded from the S&P 500. This announcement came last week, and the immediate aftermath was a drop in its stock price. Now, is this just a temporary setback, or is it a long-term concern? I mean, this is the decision for now, but it doesn't necessarily mean that it'll be the decision forever. Chris, fill us in on the details of this.
Okay, so for those investors that may not be familiar with this, every quarter the S&P 500 looks at the stocks that comprise their index and they rebalance it. And in not necessarily every quarter, but most quarters, some stocks get added. If they add a stock, it's a one-to-one thing, so they'll remove another stock. There are certain criteria that stocks have to meet to gain inclusion or to be considered for the S&P 500. Palantir met those requirements back in the end of 2023. This was the second time that they were up for possible inclusion in the S&P 500. They didn't make it. It's, as you said, Lacey, it's not a forever decision. It's a for now decision. Stock went down a little bit because there was some retail enthusiasm about if Palantir got included in the S&P 500, it would have increased the amount of institutional ownership in the stock, knocked down the volatility a little bit, and it would have made it more attractive for a broader number of investors.
So I do think it's important to note some of the larger business movement with this. How do you feel about Palantir's $50 million contract with Tampa General Hospital? Another recent contract that happened was with the U.S. Department of Defense. Do you think this has the opportunity to significantly boost the company's stock? I mean, I guess my main question here is, are some of these ongoing contracts in healthcare in defense sectors, is it going to help achieve stable growth for the stock?
There's a lot of questions in there, Lacey. What I would say is the size of the contract doesn't do much for me because we're talking about tens of millions of dollars. In the case of the government one, it might be up to 400 million. We're not talking billions, we're talking millions, which the significance of this, though, is it's almost now happening on a weekly basis or a bi-weekly basis that you're hearing about Palantir getting another win, getting another win, getting another win. And the wins are happening not just in the government side of the business, but they're happening in the commercial side of the business. And that's, I think, where the excitement comes in. When Palantir launched their AIP platform, the question was, okay, so what? How is it going to generate revenue for the company? How is it going to make it more profitable? And every time the company stacks these wins up, it starts proving the fact that when companies start to use Palantir's technology, they like it. And in both of the case of both of these contracts, these were companies and parts of the government that were already using Palantir and are now saying, yeah, we're going to continue to use it.
Yeah, right. I kind of agree with what Chris is saying. Palantir stock definitely can go higher because it's gaining traction, but also deepening penetration. It's going on both sides of the business. So it's a dual tailwind, really a quadruple tailwind because both sides of the business, new wins and penetration. So the business has some growth ahead of it. And I think this thing with the S&P really is a non-fundamental driver. It would affect the market sentiment, it would increase ownership, but it doesn't really affect the business fundamentals, which are positive and driving the stock higher.
So now when it comes to artificial intelligence stocks, I think we can agree that Palantir stands apart. I mean, they've had AI tools for years now, but where do you guys see Palantir in maybe 1, 5, let's say 10 years? Do you think that the company's AI advancements are going to be able to keep it at the forefront of the industry at all?
I do think that actually, because Palantir is not doing AI for AI's sake alone. It's not just building this thing because it can. It's been monetizing AI from the beginning. And that's the factor that's driving all of the big AI names today is that they monetize it. AI is fine if it's just a toy, but when you're turning it into a business, you make money out of it, that moves your stock price.
Now, guys, Palantir has a price to sales ratio of 23.3. Is Palantir overvalued, do you think, or does it have the potential to grow into its valuation?
Can I cop out and say both things are true?
No cop outs here.
Yes, I think the stock is slightly overvalued if you look at that metric and you say it's 23 times sales. So just from that metric alone, yes, the stock is probably undervalued. It's not a stock that a lot of traders are going to be interested in terms of trying to get in it. But I think if you're in the stock already, you're looking for opportunities to just kind of keep averaging in when you can, and when the stock gives you that opportunity, because I think the move here is going to be higher.
All right, knowing all that we've discussed today about Palantir, how should investors approach this stock, guys? I mean, for those looking to invest in this, do you think this is a good entry point right now, or would you maybe wait for further price movements? Quickly, but before you answer that though, I do want to let our viewers know how they can get free SMS alerts on the latest Palantir stock news, or really any other stock that they follow. Want to keep your finger on the pulse of the market? Text the word YouTube to 68285. That's 68285, and get free breaking news alerts from MarketBeat for the stocks that matter most to you. Don't miss out on crucial updates. Stay informed and stay ahead.
Right. I think now would be a fine entry point. The stock did pull back a little bit on the news Friday, but it was a marginal amount. Investors bought the dip. There's positive action since then. The market's sitting on support, showing good support at a higher level. I think that it's just waiting for the next earnings report, and that should be a good one.
Yeah.
Yes, well, don't forget Palantir's next earning report is coming up on August 5th. Should we anticipate any significant announcements within that, do you think?
I don't know if you're going to hear any significant announcements heading into the earnings report. I think something for investors to look out for is about a month after Palantir reports earnings is when the S&P will decide who might get into the index for the fourth quarter. And if Palantir delivers a very strong earnings report, it may seal the deal for them as far as getting included in the S&P 500.
That's a good point, Chris. That's what I wanted to mention before. This momentum it has, you know, it's not quite good enough for S&P to include it, but it's got this momentum. It will build a critical mass. It could happen over the summer or in the fall.
Yeah.
All right, well, thank you everyone for tuning in. Don't forget to leave us your comments down below. Let us know your thoughts on Palantir. And of course, stay tuned as we continue to explore more investment opportunities and market trends. We'll see you next time.